What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. We are not the same. I am an alien, like Gonzalez, young college student hooter. In case y'all wondering, that's a little Lil Wayne. He had a song called "Phone Home." Speaking of aliens, Martians, extraterrestrials, ET, all that shit, I want to talk about BHOP, Bernard Hopkins, Philly in the house. And I watched Bernard Hopkins. I want to talk about the Shumenov Bernard Hopkins fight. First of all, some of you dumb motherfuckers was saying that Shumenov was going to knock out Bernard Hopkins. And it's possible. It's boxing. Anything can happen. But based off of what? What has Shumenov done? Who has he beat? He beat a guy that Roy Jones Jr. beat twice, in my opinion, years ago, like way past it. Like, who is Shumenov beat to the give you the impression that he could fuck with Bernard Hopkins and knock him out? You know what I mean? Some of you guys really, like, either you hate Bernard Hopkins, you hate black people, you hate something, but some of your predictions are just like, and I'm not saying like he can get knocked out. That's not even an issue. But based off of what? Like, argue or debate why you feel this way. Like, if I give a prediction, I've been wrong on predictions, but I'll at least tell you why. I'll support with factual information based on previous fight patterns I noticed or whatnot, and say, hey, Bernard Hopkins, he's gonna get knocked out by this guy because I see something in him. Some of you guys just say crazy shit and just leave it be. Don't explain yourself. Anyway, Bernard Hopkins, he's a legend. Fuck what you say. Living legend. Once again, at almost 50 years old, he's competing at a high level with guys almost 20 years his junior, like Shumenov, who is a power puncher. And I haven't seen much of Shumenov. I've seen little things here and there. I told you he wasn't going to win, and that prediction was dead on because he didn't win, and he was dominating that fight. As far as Shumenov, there's certain performances, even when a fighter loses, it's a respectable loss in my opinion. And if they hold a good account of themselves, then I would still watch him in the future. Like Lomachenko, he's a fighter where he lost to Orlando Salido, and I think Orlando Salido should have won because he won. You know what I mean? He was winning a lot of the early rounds, and he had kind of some dirty tactics. But in that loss, Lomachenko still earned me as a fan, like as a professional. I've seen some of his amateur stuff, but it was a respectable loss. He went the distance, but he held a good account of himself, and he even showed heart and came back in the 12th round against Orlando Salido and had Salido backing up and hurt and kind of holding on for life. So losses like that, they're not that damaging to me because it's a loss, but it's a respectable loss. And I can think of tons of examples of this. But Shumenov, even Toriano Johnson, that's another one recently while we're on the subject. Toriano Johnson lost to Curtis Stevens, but it was a respectable loss to me because he held a good account of himself. He came out with a good game plan. He showed heart. He showed a chin. He took some big shots throughout the fight, even the ones before the 12th round or 10th round or whatever. Shumenov, not so much. Like, I don't really have a desire to watch him fight again based on what he showed me. He didn't really. I mean, if you're coming to America, he's from Kazakhstan, and if you're coming to America like Eddie Murphy and you're looking to build a name for yourself, dethrone a legend like Bernard Hopkins, that's not the way to do it. The way he fought, and I think he could have made a better showing at the very least. I'm not saying he could have beat B Hop, but he could have definitely had a better showing. One thing I didn't like about Shumenov's game, well, I told you guys in my prediction video, he has no fucking trainer. Like, what the fuck? I mean, I know a trainer doesn't win fights, but they can damn sure help you. Like, so it was weird. They were showing brother Nassim Richardson, in his corner, in Bernard Hopkins' corner, giving him good advice, healthy advice. Brother Nazim is a good dude, very knowledgeable in the sport of boxing, giving B Hop a lot. He's just like, put your punches together and mix it up. You can hurt this guy, or he don't want no more. You're breaking him down. Great corner advice. And then for whatever reason, the telecast that I seen, they were showing Shumenov's corner, and it was just the cut man, and they're giving him back massage and spraying him with water and shit with no instruction. Like, that's stupid. Why do you not have a trainer, somebody, a second set of eyes, if you will? Just makes no sense. Other thing, I didn't like Shumenov's war cries. Like, it's like he's announcing when he's going to throw a punch. And first of all, if you know anything about boxing, you're not supposed to have your mouth open. That's how Victor Ortiz got his jaw broke. And it's easy because if if your mouth is open, your jaw is like halfway like unhinged or whatever, you get rocked in the jaw, then that's where the compound fractures and whatnot can happen. So Shumenov making all this damn noise like, ah, ah, ah. Like, why are you making a noise every time you throw a punch? I don't know. I've noticed a lot of people like that. I've seen Adrian Broner do it a lot. Like, what the fuck is the point? Like, why are you making so much noise? Just fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, is that helping you in any way? And I didn't like that with Shumenov. Like I said, I've seen other people, Bernard Hopkins and whatever, Victor Ortiz, do these war cries for no reason. Ah, ah, ah. Like, I mean, is it helping you? I mean, you're still losing the fight. You're getting dominated. What the fuck is the war cry doing? I didn't like that about Shumenov's game. And then again, I don't think he used his skill set to the best. Like, I mean, he's known as a big puncher. He's supposed to. A lot of guys from Kazakhstan are just tough. You look at the guys like Gennady Golovkin, power punchers, tough, and he did nothing. You're in there with a 50-year-old, for God's sakes, and you're not even like overwhelming him. You're working at just the right pace that Bernard Hopkins wants. And to Bernard Hopkins' credit, some of that is based on Bernard Hopkins. He gives you so many different looks. He gives you some movement. He frustrates you. He plays mind games even before the fight, kind of like Mayweather does. And it's just too much. And I told you guys it would be this. With Shumenov, he just doesn't have the experience to fuck with Bernard Hopkins. You can have dynamite for hands. You can have bricks for hands. But if you can't connect to your target, it really doesn't amount to a hill of beans. And Bernard Hopkins, he just proved once again the sweet science, if you use it right, can overcome anything. You could be a naturally stronger, younger, bigger puncher, but if you still have the mobility and the brains that Bernard Hopkins has, and a chin, Bernard Hopkins' chin is underrated. He still had, in his fights, like the Murat fight, he got hit. He got hit with some stuff by younger guys, and Bernard Hopkins has an underappreciated, underrated chin, in my opinion. And he's just a wizard. Like I said, there's things, and it wasn't even the most dirty Bernard Hopkins fight that I've seen. Some people say Bernard Hopkins uses dirty tactics. And my advice to any fighter, I'm not saying I want you to cheat and do the Margarito, the plaster wraps and shit like that. But if you're doing something like pushing off with your elbow, or you're holding a little bit and the ref is not calling it, it's a fight. It's a fucking combat sport. The opponent has to get over it and find a way to nullify or fight equally dirty or whatever. It's a fight. You know what I mean? Some fights aren't going to look pretty. Like Sean Porter, when he fights, they don't necessarily look pretty, but he gets the job done. You know what I'm saying? So, so many people bitch and complain about, oh, this fighter's dirty. He's like, if you're like Cotto when he was punching Zab Judah in the dick, I mean, that was aggressive. Or Abner Mares when he was punching Becco's dick off. Like, that's something different because it's like so flagrant, it's ridiculous. But Bernard Hopkins does these little subtle things. He'll have this like cobra strike where he'll just bap and strike you, hit you with the right hand, and then he'll crowd you and smother you so you can't counter him. And Shumenov just looked really slow, really lethargic, and he was just getting tagged all night. And Bernard Hopkins was raining down from the heavens with this fucking right hands all night. And it was just so many looks. Shumenov didn't know what the fuck to do. So props to Bernard Hopkins, true legend, a true supporter of the sweet science. And like I said, I don't know what the fuck some of y'all were talking about with Shumenov was going to knock him out. Just because you have power don't mean shit. And you guys will learn one day. So props to BHOP. He is an alien at almost 50 years old. He's doing what other people can't. And one thing I like is Bernard Hopkins has an awesome ring generalship, and he knows how to dictate the pace. Like if you look at Bernard Hopkins, his confidence grows in the mid to late rounds. The first rounds more calculated. He wasn't taking as many chances early, and it's kind of like Mayweather, just veterans of the sport like that. With the technical style, they compute the data, and then once they have your timing down, then it's a wrap unless you land that money punch. And I was actually I was surprised Bernard Hopkins, he had that knockdown in the 11th round, I believe it was. So that was a good thing because it looked like at the very least Shumenov was tough. And like I said, a lot of the guys from Kazakhstan are just gritty, tough dudes. So in my prediction, I didn't predict any kind of stoppage because I didn't think it would be that. But I knew Bernard Hopkins was going to do his thing, and he did. And I mean, the sky's the limit for him. Until there's no some people are, why doesn't he retire? Why the fuck should you? Like if he's still competing and still taking guys' belt and taking guys' O's like Tavoris Cloud, then why does he need to retire until he's getting embarrassed? And it's funny, some of you guys are motherfucking like hypocrites, and it's not against Pacquiao. I'm just being honest. Some of the Pacquiao fans will be like, "Oh, Pacquiao, he'll beat anybody," even though Pacquiao looks like he's on the decline of his career. Straight up, he can still beat guys just based off athleticism and all of his wisdom in boxing and stuff. But he does not look like the same boxing. Yet people are still welcoming like the Mayweather fight or this fight or that fight or saying Pacquiao needs to fight X, Y, and Z. And then you got guys like Bernard Hopkins who are having easy nights and still looking impressive at a later age, and you're screaming for him to retire. Like, why is he retire? He doesn't look that much different than he did. I mean, obviously there's been an evolution in his style. Pacquiao looks like a different fighter. Pacquiao was lightning quick and nobody could endure multiple punches from Pacquiao. Now all of a sudden people can, and people are screaming for Bernard Hopkins to retire. So I never understood stuff like that. I don't think Hopkins needs to retire as long as he keeps taking people's O's and their confidence and soul. I mean, this is what he's done. He's done this to a lot of young fighters. Tavoris Cloud, Kelly Pavlik. He has these young fighters by the balls and just makes them mentally check out or whatever. So as long as he can keep doing that, not taking too much punishment, then shit, he can retire when he feels like it until someone beats him, like Chad Dawson did. BHOP's a legend. Fuck y'all. And for the one judge that scored Shumenov beating Bernard Hopkins on the scorecards, that whatever judge that was, they deserve to be castrated. And if it was a chick, then she needs to be gang raped because that was some bullshit, fake ass split decision. Like, what did Shumenov do to the point where he would be ahead on the scorecards for doing those war cries? Do you get a point for that? Like, oh shit, it's a 10-8 round. Like, what the fuck? Stupid ass judging. Let me know what you guys think. As always, hate, comment, or subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off.